And welcome everyone to the virtual Sunday service, The Journey Within Spiritualist Church. I'm Reverend Annette Hack, a minister with The Journey Within, and I'll be hosting today's service. And I am pleased and honored to welcome the pastor of The Journey Within Spiritualist Church, Minister Joseph Shiel. Reverend Joseph Shiel is a compassionate minister and a highly acclaimed evidential medium and spirit artist. He is world known for his integrity and extraordinary ability to draw portraits of departed loved ones, and I've seen them, they're gorgeous. It is through his creativity that he brings forth the love of God and the grace of spirit in every discerning soul he meets. And he's also an award-winning teacher. But most of all, we are pleased and grateful to have him as the pastor of the Journey Within Spiritualist Church. It is my pleasure to welcome to this service.
Thank you very much, Annette. Thank you so much.
We begin our service with spiritual healing that is conducted virtually, and as our healers are with us here today. And if you'd like to request healing for someone, please type their first name and their last initial in the chat box. Please not include the full last name due to confidentiality. Now, if you wish, you may also add the names of your pets, the planet, or even global circumstances. We'll open with a prayer, followed by a period of quiet meditation. Now, if you'd like to participate in the healing, please quiet yourself and focus on your breathing. And as you inhale, feel yourself boosting your own immune system and igniting that inner healer within. Please join me in prayer. Mother, Father, gracious God of love and healing, as we gather together and work with the ministry of angels, may we shine our light so brightly that the healing is spread throughout the world, this universe, and even back to our own homes and our families and our friends and our pets. And sharing the healing with those that have been abused and in senseless violence, alone or lost. Healing sent in need, whether it's physical, whether it's spiritually or emotionally. And may our healing light help those in war-torn countries and those that are going through natural disasters, such as the fires in Hawaii and the tornadoes and the hurricanes, or whatever natural disaster it may be. Send healing. And may we ease their suffering, whether you're young or old or animals, or even this planet Earth that we live on. As we take time to blend with each other and sharing our eternal healing light, may we be more kind and loving and making this world a softer and lighter and a better place. For Mother, Father, God of love, there is never a space that you are not. Amen. As we come to the end of the healing portion of our service, may we pray for special healing for those names that have been written in the chat box, as well as those throughout the world who are experiencing the distress of hunger and illness and sadness and loneliness or fear at this time. We ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from our mind and body and to restore us to perfect health. We ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and we will do our part. And may we be reminded that healing is there merely for the asking and accepting of your strength and presence, for we place our trust and love in the power of Mother, Father, and God. Amen. If you'd like to request healing for anyone during the course of the week, please email or call the church with their names, and we'll forward them to the healers who will be praying for them for the healing for the days and the weeks and the months to come. And a very special thank you to all the healers. Please know you're greatly appreciated. Welcome again, everyone. I'm Minister Annette Hack from the Journey Within Spiritualist Church, hosting today's service. And we are here today with Minister Joseph Shiel. We open the service with song and prayer. I'd like to invite Reverend Joe to lead us in the opening prayer, please.
Thank you, Annette. Good morning, everyone, and how good it is for us to be here. Great Creator, God of our understanding, we thank you for bringing us here this morning on this virtual church, this virtual community, to come together, to be together, to heal together, and to smile together upon the world, to bring healing to all those who suffer, all those who are marginalized and feel less than, for those in the midst of tragedies, whether they be by nature, Maui, or by humankind and human frailty, Jacksonville, Florida, and otherwise. We ask that you be with us, that you calm our hearts, that you help us to be more positive in our outlook, to help us to stay strong within you, and have the will to choose what is right, what is good, for the sake of all. We thank you for this time together of quiet, a time to breathe, a time to live and live well. Thank you. Amen. Thank you, Annette.
It's my
So
favorite.
the song began, and I was listening, and I said, "Oh, I like harmonica," and I didn't so it's terrible, isn't that something? And then when I heard the voice, I said, "Well, I wrote that song some years ago, and actually recorded and performed it with Robin Bennett, who passed away 5 years ago this month, and just wonderful to hear her voice. And I'm a little clipped, as they say now, but that's okay. I appreciate that. You know, I wanted to kind of talk today because I've seen so much stress and strain and infighting and everything around all over the place. I mean, from the 6 o'clock news on down to even families and things like that lately, and been dealing with some people that are struggling in a lot of ways, and fearful of what's happening next in the world or in their lives, etc. And so I thought I'd just talk today a little bit about those things. Back when I was young and I was a kid, I was, played organized football from the time I was 5 till I was in college, and then, and then I was a fencer in college and a boxer in high school, and always competitive, always, trying to be the he-man, if you will, always trying to be the smartest guy in the class and the strongest one there, and always thinking that God may not have me on his side, or maybe I'm not the best, and maybe I'll be let down, and wondering what's the next right thing to do, and not knowing what the right thing to do is, and kind of becoming quite human and quite frail at times, and quite ridiculous at times. And as a young man, I guess many young men do that, but I did it. I screwed up. I did lots of things to annoy people or tick them off, or make those mistakes in life. But I always wanted to be good. I always wanted to try to be. There was something inside of me that said, "This isn't right. You got to do something different. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?" And I'd go to church, and I'd go to different churches at times, but I was brought up, in a church where, you stand and kneel and you do what you're told, or else, and I wanted to be part of that church. I wanted to be, ordained into that church at one time, but even then it was like, do as you're told, and believe what we tell you. And it was like, oh my God, what if I don't? What if I don't really believe all this stuff? What if it doesn't make sense in the end? What if it's kind of your idea but not what I am? And I struggled with that for a long time. I mean, lots of tears have been shed over, geez, where the heck am I, and where do I belong, and what's it all about, Alfie? What's life about? So, I thought today I would talk a little bit about this, that God is everywhere, and God is in us, and it's in all, and always there. Every time, every second of our life, every voice that we pronounce, every movement that we make, there is creation in that. There is an energy that takes place in the world that is constantly creating, constantly revealing, constantly the light that shines the truth on things. So even when people are battling with each other or thinking they know it all or arguing with each other, or even when the storms come and take things down, there's always this energy constantly pushing to create better, to create more, or perhaps to create space sometimes to just take out the negative and put more positive things in place. And it is not easy to watch sometimes as we are confused about what God is to us, what we want in our lives. And it really seems to be something that we need to realize as spiritualists. Uh, you know, we have personal responsibility for our lives. We're not following someone else's directions. We are the ones who have to take those choices honestly, deeply honestly within ourselves, to be true to our own truths and say, okay, how can I be of the best person I can be? How can I be the best light, the best spirit? How can I honor the spirit that I am? Can I come to believe in the fact that I'm a spirit? Can I come to believe in a God that actually gives a damn about me, that cares and wants something more? I wrote this just a few minutes ago. When we pick energy in our life, if we pick to be negative and just scorn people and judge people and kind of contempt prior to investigation, prior to knowing who people are, we say, oh, I don't like him, I don't like her, the way she's dressed, I don't like, and we don't even know the person. Or we do the same for religions or organizations or anything. It's like, oh, I don't like them, I don't know what they're up to. And all of a sudden we get into this negative mode, and negativity just begets negativity, and it just builds and builds and builds, and then it's a clash back and forth. It's like a ping pong ball, or one of those super balls thrown into a box. It's just going to bounce off the walls and keep going as long as the energy remains, and then it builds again. As it hits, it just builds power. And it gets to be pretty ugly after a while. So I just wrote this. The energy we grab will determine the life we've had. So when we're talking about us, all of us, future ghosts, if you will, future ones on the other side that may be able to come back and have the wisdom to help the world become a better place, to help people be more peaceful, be more evolved. And that is what we're about, is to evolve this world into a better place. That's what we're called to do by God, I believe. Not to just go over and over again and make the same mistakes over and over again, warring with each other and killing each other, but to actually find a peace within our hearts and to champion and to embrace the diversity of who we are, embrace who we really are as people, no matter what our interests are or what our mode of life is, but to uplift and create a better life for everyone. The energy we grab will determine the life we've had. So if we grab negative energy, we want to hate, we want to slam down, we want to judge, we want to do this. At the end of life, what have you had? What have you done? With your life, what have you accomplished? Looking back at that kind of expenditure of energy on pain and on inflicting pain or arguing or this, what does it accomplish? What has it accomplished in any way, shape, or form? It's just stagnant, stale, and horrifically dark in all that it is. All energy flows and moves, and as it moves, it soothes, or sometimes it even shocks. But in the clashes and crashes of life, all will be all right. All will find its course. It'll find its nature, like energy going through a wire to the light bulb. It may spark and clash and crack, but sooner or later the light comes on, and the light will come on for all of us. The light will be there when we transcend to the other side someday. Hopefully in time. Hopefully we have the time. Hopefully it's not just today. hopefully we have the time to straighten out and ease the energy to come through to the positive, so that when we're in that positive, that's where we end up in the new life. And in the new life, we look back and all is enlightened, all is illuminated. The truth of our life is illuminated. Will we regret life, or will we say, wow, what a ride? And can I really own this? Can I really see what I've learned, what I've come to know, what I've done for others, what I've really been? If we can come to trust the love of God, then we understand the love of the greater universe and creation itself. And as spiritualists, we begin to work by a set of principles to come to truly work at knowing us, in order to be that illuminator for the rest of the world, for others around us, for our family, our friends, people we know, the people we meet each and every day. It's not so much as my life as a young man was to choose to compete. I want to be number one. I want to be all that. I want to be all that in a cup of tea. And pride and ego and all these things that I thought were supposed to put you as the winner or the number one. And all it did was bring pain and force me into oblivion. Sometimes force me into confusion and tear at the very roots of my heart and stale and darken and muddy up my soul, never knowing who I was or where I was. And so it's when I look at the problems in life today, the things we see has gone upon the 6 o'clock news, I say, are we really going to engage in all that? Are we really going to start to look at that as this is the way it is and accept it as being? Or are we going to say there must be a better way? There's got to be something else. That negative flow is just going to keep us away. We have not been given free will to hurt us or to challenge us or that's not why we're given free will. We're given free will at our birth to have choice in life, the choice of manifesting our being, manifesting our path. All that is there for us is given. All that is there is of our choosing. But if we choose the negativity, if we choose that we become that stale, we come to a total stop, we come muddied up and we go nowhere. The energy flow slows to a nil and we don't go anywhere. But the minute we start to be positive, and what do I mean by that? The minute we start to see that we're not alone, that God is all around us. And I'm not talking about the necessarily unseen world or the spirit world, which is all around us, but I'm talking about the person next to us, the person hurting in the corner, the person that's crying over a loss or misunderstanding a conversation, or that person who just can't get through the day because the weight of children and diapers and everything else is just too much. Person who can't get away from the addiction or doesn't know how to climb out of that gutter that they're in. Are we there for them? Are we there to come as servants of a higher source, a higher energy, a God of our understanding? That's what we need to do. We have a choice to manifest our life. And then if we grab that energy, then that will be the life that when we look back, that will be the life we've had. What a better choice for the longer haul of a spirit that never dies. That God is always in us, with us, and through us in every way we are. And it is us. And as spiritualists, we come to believe that, oh my goodness, all these so-called miracles are nothing more than just who we are. The ability to psychically see other people, the ability to speak and communicate with the other side, the ability to know all time is all time and it's right now. that yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. We live right now. We come to know that positive flow is just incredible. And as spiritualists, we are the ones who debate. You know, we're the ones that don't readily accept the doctrine, the creed, the saying, oh, this is the way it must be. I hope that as spiritualists, you're saying, well, why? Why is that the way it has to be? Isn't there more? I believe that I became a spiritualist because I was looking for more. Have I found it all? No, but have I found a way or a means in which to find it and which to live within that energy, that flow of positivity? Yes, I have. And so I champion spiritualism as real religion. Finally, real religion, one that can bring us to a better place. Now, it attracts people. Spiritualism attracts people sometimes that are broken, sometimes that have been through HE double hockey sticks and just looking for answers of why. And that's okay, because it means that if they stick to it and learn the principles for their nature and who they are, that they will come to believe and they will come to heal and they will come to positive energy to flow in a better direction for their lives and for the love of others, to see that their life is of service to spirit, not only the spirit of the unseen world, the intelligence that oversees us, the ones that have been here and done that before us and paved the way, but also for those brothers and sisters right around us, for the children to come. And as we do that, it becomes more, and we understand that we are one. The spiritualists, we're the doubters, you know? We're the ones who want to kind of say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? You know? We want to be kind of the skeptic, but we're healthy skeptics. We want proof. We want to understand. We want true evidence. We're not just going to fall for something and fall for anything. We want to say, okay, is that truly my mother on the other side? Is that truly the truth here? Does that really help us all if we pick and choose that particular political aspect of things in this life? Or have we actually thought it through? Actually put our abilities as spirit from a higher source, the inner truth says, is this true? Is this true to me? Or am I just following the crowd, joining the gang? As individuals, spiritualists become personally responsible for all people, all brothers and sisters, all life, the animals, the trees, the forest, the sky, for all things. We become more closely related to the positivity of the Creator itself. And in that creation, we become something really wonderful. But we have to watch what we're choosing. If you're choosing to be negative, if you're choosing to be ugly today, then you'll be ugly. You know, if you're choosing to be part of the beauty of creation, beauty of life, then you'll be beautiful. And that's the life you would have had. You know, recently I went on a little hike with my grandson, Connor, and the whole family. And we went on this hike. It was a mile. I almost died. But anyway, we went on this hike through the woods, and I watched Connor, and he's stomping his feet and like this, and he's 2 years old, so he's a little guy, you know, and he stomped his feet and goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going, what the heck is that? Where did he get that? You know, it's like he's marching through the woods, you know. And then he'd see a bug, and he'd stoop down and see the bug, and he'd start talking to the bug, and I went, now that's beautiful. But what the heck was that marching stuff? It scared the taillights out of me. So I asked my daughter, his mom, I said, kid, what's up with the marching thing? She goes, oh, he sees that on TV with some one of the kids show has elephants and they march through the thing. And I said, oh, okay, all right. I said, it's a little scary to me. You know, but by the same token, if you have the innocence of a child, doesn't matter how much you march along with the rest of them, You're going to make up your own mind, and you're going to see the beauty in life like the bug. You're going to see the smallest of things as being massively, incredibly, universally beautiful. The creation of a little thing on the ground, and embrace it with the truth of who you are. So as you go forward this week, I say, choose what's positive in your life. Choose what's good. Ask the questions. Don't ask, is there a God? Don't ask, should I believe or shouldn't I? Go to the truth within yourself and see the life you are, see the miracle you are, see the appreciation that many of us have for the fact that you were born in the first place, that you exist, that you breathe in the same rooms, the same place, the same world as us, that we are not alone, that we have you, all your foibles, all your mistakes, but we have you. And that's what's important, that creation is itself. And ask, why do I believe? Why do I believe in God? Because we've got to come to the truth of our own positive self, because we are creation. We are the love the world needs. You are the light that can illuminate the truth and dissipate the darkness, push away the negative, illuminate what really can be, what are the possibilities of life. There's an old story. There's two ministers on their way to church, and they're trudging up the road, and it's raining like crazy. It's mud. There's flooding going on. There's puddles galore. It's an ugly day, and they're driving through the rain, and they got to get to church right away. And there's two of them walking up, and one of the ministers sees a woman on the sidewalk, and she's getting all wet. She's dressed in her Sunday best, and she's getting drenched. And there's nothing but a big puddle and mud going by in front of her. So one of the ministers says, look, I'm going to go help that lady. And the other minister says, we don't have time. We got to get to church. And he says, no, I'm going. So he runs over and he picks up the woman. He carries her across the street onto a dry spot and said, there you go. And off he goes. And the other priest is just incensed, like, oh, we don't have time for that. They get to the church 20 minutes later. They're soaked, they're like wet rats. They just get everything going, and they walk into the church, and then they're rushing around to get ready. And so the second priest says, the second minister says to the first one, he goes, "Why did you stop and help that woman?" And he goes, "Look what, we're going to be late." And he says, it's funny. He goes, I just carried her across the street. Seems like you're still carrying her. Watch what you carry in life. You can carry the anger. You can carry the resentments. You can carry the pain. You can carry the horror. You can carry all the explosions around you of conversations or insights or 6 o'clock news. You can carry it all day long. You can carry it heavy, and it can drag you down to nothing, into a lost, dark place. Or you can pick somebody up that's in trouble and carry them just for a little bit and live pretty free the rest of the day. I hope you have a wonderful week. And I thank you for being part of the journey within, for supporting the journey within. Many blessings. Peace. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you, Minister Joe, for those wonderful, heartfelt thoughts, loving thoughts. Thank you so much. We now come to our time for our collection announcements. You'll see a box on the screen for donations, and we appreciate any donations at this time. If you'd like to donate, you can scan this box with a smart pad or an iPhone, or donate through our website or send a check. We're thankful for all donations, great and small. Our announcements, we have in New Jersey, we have a fellowship after the service, the in-person service, on the first Sunday of each month. There's coffee, tea, bagels, donuts, for example, and great friendship and nice chatting. So love to have you there. Some of our upcoming classes or events we have beginning September 9th is a Life Experiences and Losses Within Mediumship with Catherine and Mitch Shirley. On September 10th, we have the Animal Communication in a Nutshell with Lillian Steiner. On September 16th, we have Edgar Casey on the Book of Revelation with Kevin Tedeschi. On September 18th, there's a new evening class beginning called Soul and Self-Discovery with Bobby Kitziel. On September 29th, Making the Most of Evidence with Christine Morgan. On September 30th, we have the Confidence Clinic with Pamela Meredith. We also have the Mediumistic Clairvoyance Practical Workshop with Paul Jacobs. We are constantly updating that website with new classes and events, so please look there for the most up-to-date information, and we'd love to have you join us. We move into our demonstration now of mediumship. As a spiritualist church, we believe in the continuity of life. And as the medium brings forth a body of evidence of a deceased loved one, and you can take 95 to 100% of what's been said in the exact way that the medium has said it, rather than, oh, you kind of want to make it, please raise your hand, the little digital hand. You usually find it located at the bottom of your screen. And if a couple people would do that for me now, just to make sure it's working, thank you so much for that. And you'll lower it. Okay, you'll lower them as well. There we go, thank you. Now, if you can take the first few pieces of the evidence, but cannot continue to take the next piece of evidence, please lower your hand so we may find a recipient as quickly as possible. Now, if several people can take the information, it will be up to the medium to discern the right recipient. And if you're invited to speak but cannot unmute, or you're having difficulty, please type me in the chat box. I'll be monitoring that as well. We will now listen to a song and say a prayer in preparation for the demonstration. Sorry. You're welcome to join me in the prayer. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I'm 1,000 winds that blow. I'm the diamond glints on snow. I'm the sunlight on ripened grain. I'm the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I'm the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I'm the soft star that shines at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. I invite Minister Joe to offer a demonstration of mediumship.
Thank you very much, Annette. I'm going to switch the camera here, folks. So hopefully it works. There we go. Not sure where it is overhead here. There we go. I hope you can see that somewhat. And if you just listen to the sound of my voice and listen to the information and pay attention to the information, not necessarily the picture. I could be talking about mom and end up drawing dad. That's sometimes the way it works. So if you notice, but if you do recognize the picture, if you could raise your hand as well, that would be great. I would hope that you knows 90% of the information at least, if not more. And we'll see if we can come together with that. I'm going to begin with my own prayer that I say before every reading I've ever done. I wrote it back when I was in the Catholic seminary and terrified of all this stuff. So it might sound a little bit weird, but it is what helps me put myself into that little zone, if you will. So, Almighty God, Holy Spirit, be down upon us, in us, and through us in every way. I thank you for bringing all these folks together today. I ask you to surround us with the white light of your love and to pierce our hearts and souls with that love. And as you do, as loved ones in spirit, be with us if at all possible, especially those around about the folks here today. And as you step in with me, ask you to use me in any way you wish, as long as you do it, love, light, and respect. Please show yourself to me. Help me understand who you are, what you were like in life, what you did in life, what happened to you. Any information you have for these folks for their upliftment, the discernment of their well-being, their purpose, their path, their happiness and joy would be appreciated. And I ask this in the name of all that is holy, all the angels and saints, teachers, guides, loved ones, and prophets that have come before us to pave the way. And I ask this day for nothing but your highest and best, your peace, patience and tolerance, your insight and well-being, your strength, your fortitude, your love, your light, especially your truth. Amen. I have a grandmother here, and I know she's a grandmother because she tells me so. And I like her a lot. She's tough. I wouldn't mess with her for all the tea in China. She is the kind of woman that would have known what she wanted and kind of ruled the roost. Um, other people might think they're in charge, like Grandpa, but I think he knew that he was subject to whatever she said and whatever she wanted. So that's just the way it was. She's got some blemishes on her face. I do some skin condition. She did get older. She passed of illness. She's very she was very attractive and beautiful when she was young. I saw an old picture she showed me of a wedding dress and the husband. So kind of with a little bouquet on the shoulder, if you will, as I got her. So I just want to mention her as I come to this. Definitely, she wants me to put the earring on. It's kind of a clip-on type of thing, so I need to mention that. I know that I'm getting some common names with around her, but that I'm kind of paying attention to one that's it's a little bit more rare, if you will. So I do kind of want to kind of look into this, and it seems to be that there's a mention of a like a Margaret or Mary, but Marie, something like that. But it's almost I said, is there anything else that you could show me that's a little bit more common, that less common, more unique to you, if you will? So as I come to 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 see her, I want to mention that there is, and so I'm just going to kind of go a little further with this. I like who she is. She's tough in the way she presents herself. She would not take any wooden nickels from anybody. She would not take any guff from anybody. I do believe she would have spoken her mind and let you know where she's coming from. This picture is a little bit before her passing. I would say a few years before her passing. I do think she got a little bit more gaunt, a little bit more unwell, if you will, at that time. And I want to talk about either a Beth or that type of name as well, a Beth. So I want to mention that around her. I also feel like there's a Patricia close to her that is important. So she's mentioning that as well. So I'm gonna kind of mention that. I like who she is because I think she's honest. She tells it just like it is. She doesn't mince words with me. She's kind of as much as I'm trying to catch some of them, she seems to have a real stern look in her eye, almost like she wants it. She wants somebody to understand she's here. She was tough as a mom. I think she was really tough. I do think she's talking about I just saw a gold flash or a gold ring, and so that usually means a child that is unborn to me, um, perhaps a miscarriage. So I asked her about that in my head, and she said she did have a miscarriage. She may have had two, she said. She's not sure, but definitely one that she had that had gone a bit of term and devastated her. Although she had a number of children, she keeps holding up the a full hand, like five possibly. That could be May, but I do think she's talking about possibly the number of children as well. So can anybody understand any pieces of this? Are there any hands up so far?
5 hands, Joe.
Okay. How many hands are up at this point?
5 hands.
5 hands.
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay. Let me go on a little further, okay? And if you understand the picture as well, keep your hand up, okay? Um, I do believe that she has, tell me a little bit more about this, okay? I do think that she had a son that she had difficulty with. She loved her sons immensely, but one of her sons either had a difficulty or was not well, and she had to take care of him even in his older age. Like she lost him almost before her. And so there's a loss for child, but I do think he's older when she loses him. And I'm not sure it's a loss to death, or to transition, or it's a loss to the world itself, or to, not the same kid anymore that he was, that kind of thing, and had difficulty dealing with him, like he's disappeared off the map kind of thing, psychologically or otherwise. She just couldn't get through to him anymore. And so that was difficulty with her. And I do need to mention that as well.
We went to 4.
Went to 4, okay. And I also want to know that if you were to understand her, I believe that she lived a pretty full life. I know that she keeps giving me double eights, like 88. So I want to mention 88. I believe she got a little older than that, though. I think that may be of when the turn took. She keeps talking about January being important. Like this is when she either got sick or things turned the corner. And she did not do well after that. The January was a significant month of the beginning of transition or things like that. Like it's no turning back from here. She always had her opinions. She's not going to force them down anybody's throat, but if you ask her opinion, you're going to get it, and you're going to get it full boat. You're going to get this. This woman had no shyness in telling you what she thought. Okay, and I like her for that, for sure. I like her. So, can I speak to someone here, please? And that who understands all of this information? How's that?
We have 3, Janet, Kim, and Reby.
Okay. Can I hear the sounds of their voice? Perhaps I can place it with it once I know the voice.
Janet is first.
Okay. Hi, Janet.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. And what do you understand about this? Please don't try to add anything to it, but just tell me what makes sense to you in your own voice.
All right, when you first said that she had an unusual name that could be a common name, her name was Marjorie.
Marjorie.
Which is a derivative of Margaret.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So would you hang in there for a moment, please?
Sure.
And if I could hear the next person.
Kim.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Kim. Good, Kim. How about you?
I can get everything except the 5 children. She had 5 grandchildren at the time of her death.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
she had a son that had a stroke.
Okay, thank you. All right, and the final person?
Reby, and also we had one more, Eugenia, came on as well. But I have.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Shiel. I thought it was my grandmother. When you started saying about 88, I was about to put my hand down, but most of the other things kind of fit. I thought when you said about the unusual name, I thought it was just associated with her, not her name necessarily. But she did have 5 children. The clip-on earrings were kind of a hallmark. She always had in mind. In fact, she had a sailor's vocabulary, they used to say. So she was pretty frank about things.
Okay, all right. Do you recognize the picture?
It looks like her all fancied up a little. Yeah.
Fancied up, right? Okay, thank you. All right, hang in there one second. We have one more person. I'll just take that before I make a decision, but I do. Go ahead.
Eugenia.
Yes, hi, Joe.
Hi, Eugenia. How are you?
Hi. I don't recognize the picture, but I do recognize a very opinionated woman, my grandmother. She would have had 4 children. She did lose children prior to that.
Yeah.
And 1 son before her passing.
Thank you, Eugenia. I don't think I'm with you, but I appreciate you chiming in with that for sure. It's good to have participants, and I really appreciate that very much. I want to go back to the first person. Who is that? Janet, please.
Janet.
Hi.
Janet, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You recognize the picture, Janet?
I do.
And you recognize her. This is a few years before her passing, correct?
It is. I have some of her old jewelry, and it was I called it the screw-on earrings.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Would you understand that with her grandchildren, she did get closer to three of them, and then there was a couple that were more strange to report that she did not get to see as much?
Yes, my father had a second marriage.
Right.
And she wasn't able to get close to my two half brothers.
Okay. And who's John?
My uncle John is her son, Jack.
Jack. Okay. And so I want to say to you that I believe she comes through to you because you were one of the favorites. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And that she kind of looked to you to almost carry her energy forward, that you have a bit of the same spunk.
Thank you. Yes, she volunteered with disabled people, and she always asked me why I was in that kind of business when I grew up, and I told her that all the holiday dinners had people with varying disabilities.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody else for participating, but Janet, I know that I'm with you, and I kind of felt from the voice in the first place, but I wanted to make sure that we are with the right person. She comes through as a very beautiful person. She is tough as nails, though. And I think you take after her that way. And I'm not, I don't want to take your inventory here, kid, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
You would understand that you don't back down to a good argument. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe that her strength comes with love for others, and she doesn't like anybody to doesn't like to see anybody hurt anybody else, and she definitely raises her voice in that particular situation. You'd understand that as well, correct?
Yes.
And I do believe she was a woman of faith. I don't think she's evangelizing or pushing it at anybody, but she had her own quiet way about it. You'd understand that too, wouldn't you?
I would. She would hold a Bible and pray if a family member was sick or in surgery, but she didn't push it on us.
She's not gonna start reciting passage and verse to you, right?
No.
Yeah. So I feel that she comes today to champion you and to let you know. And is there a small child that's not well right now in the family?
Small child that's not well. No, there's a child that passed that wasn't well.
Okay, she's talking about a child that's not well, it wasn't well. So I just need to mention that as well. They're all together, and they're all together there for you, and they're only a thought away. So she says that you have some ability yourself to contact them, and she would like you to do that. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, so I would sit still and contact them because I think there's more to this message than I can give you this morning, but she definitely will give it to you. So I would trust in that and just spend some time, maybe this evening or something, in prayer with her. Okay?
I will. Thank you.
I'll leave you with that with light and love. God bless you. Thanks for taking the message.
Thank you so much.
And you want the picture, just let us know here at Journey Within and we'll get it out to you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go to the next person, I think. So. Thank you, everybody. So be patient with me. I think I'm just transcending to this next person that I'm asking to blend with me and be with me. And as I do, I have a gentleman here that shows me himself. I feel that this is a husband. He loved his wife tremendously. I do hear my own name, Joe. That could be, I don't know who that is to him yet, but I did hear the name. I don't think he's calling me. I do think he's mentioning someone else as he comes to me. I do believe this man passed rather quickly, not instantly, but quicker than he expected to, almost like he would diagnosed with something and it just was more of a rapid progression than he thought it would be or anybody thought it would be. And he didn't get the time to say goodbye to some older friends and people that he would have liked to. I feel a little bit of esophageal pain with this, like I'm having trouble eating or holding holding food, if you will, that way. So I do think he may have had trouble with consumption of food towards the end, the last few weeks, if you will, a few days, he says. So I'm going to mention that. As I come closer to him, he feels about my height. I actually feel like he's taller than I am. I'm 5'10" and shrinking. He feels at least 6 foot. So I'm going to say he's about 6 foot tall, very well groomed. He's not falling apart, or like, he seems to take good care of himself. I do believe he was good with numbers, good with business. He kind of had a handle on things. He's engaging with people. He did like to have his own quiet time, though, his own quiet retreat, if you will, from the day. Even if it was just watching TV or just the news or a book, he'd like to get away from that. He had a series of magazines that he has on a table next to him that he showed me that was of interest to him. So I do think he had a couple of hobbies that are interesting. They almost look like woodworking magazines to me. So I'm just going to mention that as well. And if you were to understand him, I'm going to mention the name Bradley. I don't think that's a first name, actually. I saw it there somehow, so I don't know where it's on, but that thing. There's actually a cabinet next to him, or like a series of shelves next to him, and there was actually a Monopoly game on the shelf. So I just thought, that's what I'm thinking, man. Well, maybe it's a company that I saw something. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw him now, because as he comes closer to me, he's almost taking me on, wanting to look at you, and he wants to see you. So it's, but I'm not seeing the faces of people yet. So I'm just going to kind of give you this gentleman in a way that I hope will make sense to someone. He's got very, very nice eyes. He would have been able to, a very handsome man. He's not homely, although he said he did have a couple of scars. He had a scar on his leg. He's talking about, said something that happened when in his youth. So I want to mention that. There may be even either a military or a background with this family, because he's kind of almost saluting in a way. So I do need to mention that as well. I feel like he could have had more years. I don't think this is an elderly man. I do think he passed younger than I am. So I'm going to mention that as well. I'm 67, I guess now. An old guy, yeah, to some of you. But
We have one hand.
okay, can I listen to that one hand, please?
And then now we have two. Amy is the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amy? Hi, Amy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What pieces of this information do you understand? If you could just repeat them back to me, to the best of your ability, but don't add anything to it, please. Just
Okay. He wasn't very old when he passed. He did go rather quickly. He did get diagnosed quickly. He probably did, with the trouble he was having, did have trouble eating, most likely those last few weeks. He does like woodworking, and he is very good looking, and he he is good with numbers and good with business, and I can't think of everything he said, but everything was fitting, except I didn't connect with the Bradley thing.
okay, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate that. So if you just continue to listen, I'd appreciate it. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if that looks like him though.
Okay. So you can just continue to listen, but I don't think I'm with you. But
Okay.
but because your voice does not sound, it doesn't sound familiar to me. If I'm blended with him, I would know your voice pretty well. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes no, but most of the time that's the way it works with me. So, but if you keep listening, and thank you for participating, I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay. So who is the next person, Jeanette?
Erie?
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Siri. How are you?
I'm good. So I could understand everything. A man who passed relatively young. It was a fairly quick passing. It was within 10 days. His name was Balter, not Bradley, but it starts with a B.
Mm-hmm.
And he did have a hobby with woodworking. And just this summer, I was putting down floors, woodworking, sawing, and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
What else was it? Oh, he did work with numbers because he worked with what we would call Excel sheets today.
Mm-hmm.
And his father-in-law was a captain in the U.S. military. So there's a lot of U.S. Military memorabilia in the home. What else was there?
And did he have a full head of hair?
So he did lose his hair, but he was very, very handsome in his younger days when he had a full head of hair.
Right. He's just bragging about a full head of hair here, so I just want to mention that. Okay. Thank you, Siri.
Yeah, like the old pictures, he has a full head of hair. As he got older, he lost it.
You recognize the picture so far?
I do when he was younger.
Yeah. Okay. So were you just hanging there
And
with me?
he had incredibly beautiful blue eyes.
Yeah, they're definitely blue, that's for sure. Thank you. Okay. And there was one other person?
Nope.
No, that's it. Okay. So Siri, let me go on a little further if you don't mind, okay?
Yep.
Because I do know you. We've worked together, and but
I don't really know me that well.
But I don't know the people around you or the family or anything, do I? Okay.
No, you don't.
So I just want that to be known, okay?
Yep.
I feel like this gentleman was genuine. You know, he's an honest guy. He wasn't a flim-flam guy. He wasn't trying to get something over, but he did like the practical joke every now and then. You know, something just simple, not too elaborate, you know, not like a sting or something, but something just to kind of get a rise out of people, get a little laugh, if you will. Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
And he seemed to have the intelligence to have that kind of a sense of humor. He seemed to be quite smart. And when we're talking about the woodworking, did he make furniture at all, stools of some sort?
But he did, but he also built a summer house.
Okay.
This summer we were talking about a stool that his granddaughter made.
Okay, because he was talking about a stool or something that was made out of wood. Okay, and there seems to be a way about him that I feel he was pretty active in life. You know, he liked to get outdoors and things. He's not just a homebody. You know, although he might have liked to shop and stuff, he liked to get out in the yard and in the woods and kind of be that more, if you will. You understand?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. And I do want to mention Philip. Who is that to him or to you?
Well, I have a friend, Philip.
Okay, because he's talking about Philip. And has there been some strife or stress around Philip recently that you've been advising him on? Or I just need to mention that as well. Okay.
Well, yes, within a group of friends, we're Philipists.
Okay. So he is, I believe he is a big helper of yours. Now, I don't know if you know that or not. I don't know if you've recognized his presence with you when you're working, but he wants to be. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Okay.
And I wouldn't hesitate to ask him for that help, because I do think he's around to do that. Let me just kind of. All right. This shirt it's interesting to me. He's got like it's almost like he's wearing some kind of a light hoodie or something, you know? And not like a gray hoodie like you know, like a city hood or something like that, but more like a light, almost airy, almost like a sailing hoodie or something like that. A boatman's type shirt, you know?
Okay.
Does that make any sense to you?
Well, he does own a boat.
Ah, okay.
But the boat is not seaworthy.
Okay. All right. Well, I feel like he comes with the presence of really wanting to be with you. He talks about glasses. I want to put them on him, and yet I don't, because I don't think he wore them as much when he was younger. you want to
This is
stand?
true. Yes,
And
this is true.
it keeps giving me the number 49.
Yep.
Is that the age at which he passed?
No, that's my house number.
That's your house number, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I guess he's coming to visit.
Yep. He
So,
does recently.
okay, good. Well, all right. Well, I'm going to leave you with that with light and love, given the time frame, but I do appreciate you taking it, and it's nice to hear from you, and be well as we
I'm
go.
so grateful. I'm so
God
grateful,
bless.
Joe. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. God bless you. Bye-bye. So thank you, Jeanette. I think that's it, right?
Thank you, Reverend Joe. That's wonderful. This concludes the demonstration of spirit communication. And I thank you all for attending this service. And especially I thank Minister Joseph Shiel for being with us today. We end the service with prayer and song. I invite Minister Joe Shiel to lead us in the closing prayer.
All those we love in the spirit world, we ask you to be with us. And as you come closest with us in the presence of God, we ask that you hold our hearts and our souls, our spirit, closely to yours. Comfort us in the confusion and craziness of this physical life that we live. Help us to walk gently upon this road of life, to find the kindness, compassion, strength, and patience with all those around us. Help us to be patient and kind to ourselves. Help us to not dwell on the guilt of past wrongs, but more on the strength to do the right thing next, to be there for others, to stand up for those who have less than we do, to be strong in the face of adversity, and to be intelligent and wise in loving others. We thank you for this time together. We are so grateful for each other. We're grateful for the journey within in this church. I'm grateful today for Annette and her wonderful moderating. I thank all of you for putting the computer on this morning, or your phones, or whatever the instrument is, and coming and joining with us. And I look forward to hopefully meeting all of you in person at some point in time. Thank you for listening to me. We love you. God loves you. I love you. Amen. Thank you, Annette.
Have a wonderful week, everyone, and thanks for attending. Pleasure
Thank
to
you. God bless. Peace.